I was going to change the filter and the fluid in the reversal torque mechanism. Reverso-matic, as it's called. The problem I'm having is the filter, getting to it. It'd be easy to get to from the other side if the loader frame and hydraulic tank weren't completely in the way, which they are. So this seems to be the only access, but on this side the oil cooler is in the way. Now there's a bracket there. I could unbolt the oil cooler, I guess. But even if I unbolt the oil cooler, this line and one of the other lines, well, this line's flexible, but that line's rigid, so it's not going to want to really move too much. So I tried seeing if I could get a screwdriver to just grab on that edge there and see if I could tap it over, but that didn't seem to work. I think I got an idea on how to get that transmission filter out. And take this is a really long screwdriver I've got. It's got a bad tip on it, but the reason why I've kept it is because you can hammer on the end and bash on it. Use it for various jobs it wasn't designed to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grind a little bit of a fine point on there so that I can kind of act as, hopefully it'll act as a chisel. If I can get it to dig into the edge of that filter, I might be able to spin it over. I'll show you what I mean after I grind it. Alright, so now I got a sharp little point on there, hoping I can get in there and get this to grab as I'm tapping it. Tap the top over that direction, which would be the direction to unscrew it. Well, that worked, and once it moved just a little bit, then it spun easy. So now I can easily get this sucker off. Now it won't fit through here, so I'm going to reach in, guide it over to that other side so I can walk around the other side of the machine. And there it lays. So comes up this side easy enough. Now I can get a number off of here and hit the auto parts store, and hopefully they'll have one. I'm draining the fluid out of that filter. Kind of hard to see. I might be able to clean it up and get a number off it, but I'm thinking I might just go with the number that's specified in the service manual, or the owner's manual I should say. Pretty sure that they gave a filter number in there. I decided to come back over and get the information off of the machine because I remembered seeing that there was a data plate. Now Oliver calls this a torque-o-matic or reverso torque or something like that. But what's interesting is that there's a data plate right here that says that this is made by Funk, and I've heard of that company, and that this is a Funk reverso-matic. Change oil every 500 hours. Use automatic transmission fluid oil only. Keep oil level at full mark on dipstick. And this is a model RC space O, serial number 10062, spec number 670, Funk Manufacturing of Coffeyville, Kansas. So I know that with that information I'll be able to figure out what to use for a filter on this thing, no problem. And then I'm going to see whether or not that jives with what's in the owner's manual as far as for the reverso torque, because I get a feeling that Funk was the original equipment supplier for these, and that's why this says Funk, even that's why this says reverso-matic, even though they call it something different in the Oliver manual. Okay, first I went to the Napa website and I put in a 1964 Oliver Tractor 770. Here's a spin-on filter that says transmission oil filter. Now I got good reason to believe that they are talking about the filter on my reverser, because there is no other filter on the transmission. Certainly not a spin-on type like that one that's right there in the picture. So that's a 1307, so we're going to keep that number handy. Now I've switched over to the Wix filter site. Wix is a good filter manufacturer, and I believe they might be the OEM manufacturer for the Napa Gold series of filter. The reason why I suspect that is because the part numbers are very similar, so that's the other thing that's nice about crossing it to a Wix. They also have a really good cross-reference online, a filter lookup feature. So I went in off-highway equipment section, put in Oliver for the manufacturer, tractors, and select the model.
have a 770 and we have a 770D. Assuming the 770D. Okay, well actually, it looks like you don't have to select that. If you put in a D, it just assumes you're talking about with the diesel engine. And if we go down the list here, you'll see final filter, fuel filter, hydraulic, oil filter, and then at the bottom here again it says transmission filter, a 51307. Well, originally that's 5, the 1307, and it's identical to the Napa number. And then they go on to say 770D with diesel engine. Reverso torque under the comments. That's the Oliver's name for the reverser. The reversal torque is right there. So this 51307, and you can see it's a little short sucker, just like the one I just took out of there.
Now here in my owner's manual, under the section for the reverso torque, it talks about the filter, and it says here, replace the oil filter cartridge and gasket part number 105234-A after the first 20 hours and thereafter every 500 hours. It also has a tip about draining it. There are two drain plugs. There's a drain plug on the bottom of the reverser section, and then there's a drain plug on the torque converter. But the one on the torque converter, you actually have to rotate the engine over slowly until you get to the point where the drain plug on the bottom of the torque converter actually lines up with the access hole. So that's going to be a little trickier. And it talks about that you add 1.5 gallons of automatic transmission fluid type A, which I'll talk about that later, through the dipstick opening. And then it also says you got to add an additional quart if you're doing a filter cartridge change. So let's take that number there and see what happens.
Alright, back on the Wix site, now we're going to use the exact match competitor interchange feature. So we just put in a 105234A, hit search, and a 105234A white, which is Oliver, manufacturer, Wix part number, a 51452. Aha! What is that? That is a different filter. That is not the same number we came up with before. So let's hold on. Let's check something out here. The plot thickens. This says, I went back into the application filter lookup, and I went back into Oliver, but this time I selected with diesel engine, and a much larger list came up. We get air filters, blah, 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 going all the way down here. Yada, yada, yada. I'm looking in the comments section for reverso torque. Hydro drive, hydro power. There's reverso torque right there. 51452. So is that my other mystery number that popped up? Sure is, 51452. Oh, there's the reversal torque again. That's a 1650 with diesel engine, 51452. 1655, 51452. 1800, 51452. The 1800D, Series B. At the end, the 550D, the 551, the 660D, and the 770D. Reversal torque all use the 51307. Okay. So, wonder what's going on here. Alright, let's see what Fram says about it. On Fram's website, when you look it up, again, Oliver 770D, it comes up and it says, the torque converter uses a PH16. It says, note that the OE is a 156,513A. Well, that's not it's not the Oliver number that I've got. So, alright, so I put in the original Oliver number that's in the owner's manual onto the Fram website. It crosses to a PH8A for them, which we'll take a look at that filter and see what that is. And they're saying that crosses to a Napa 1515 or Napa 1016. Neither one of those are that number either.